Hey guys, Tazzy Faye here. How is it going? How is you doing? How's life? Tell me. Tell me in the comments below. I would like to know. You guys really seem to enjoy the recent video that I did where I talked about relationship advice. And honestly, we have a million videos out here on the internet about romantic relationships, but I think that a type of relationship that is really underrated and is really valuable in life is friendship. Okay, so friendship is everything. I really feel that way. I feel like when you have good friends in your life, it really elevates your life to the next level. It adds a dimension to your life that it makes it colorful. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not somebody with 300 million different friends, okay? I'm not the person who goes into a room and just makes friends with everybody. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I have difficulty being that way, and I'm probably the villain in somebody's story somewhere. Have I had friendships that have failed in the past? Most definitely. Would I say that some of them were my fault? 100%. Would I say some of them were the other person's fault? Probably. Would I say that it's nobody's fault? Yes, sometimes. So, am I qualified to talk about friendships? I think so. And I think the reasoning behind that is because of, one, my age. I think I'm 30 years old. So I've had enough experience now where I've gone through different phases of friendships with people. But I think one of the biggest things, which I'm really blessed, I think part of it is that I'm just really lucky, which I'll also get into. But I've kept really close bonds with some of my childhood friends, some of them even since I was 3 years old. And I'm still very close to them to this day, alhamdulillah. So I just feel like I've gone through a lot in terms of friendship. And yeah, so anyway. So these are just my thoughts and feelings that I'm going to share with you. They're just my opinion, so take them with a grain of salt, take them as you like, whatever. These are some things that I've reflected on, things that have gone good, things that have gone south. Now, before I get into it, I do want to talk really quickly about the sponsor of today's video, Vivaya. Vivaya sent me some of their products, which I'm so excited about. I love them. I'm going to start off with the clothing items they sent. First is this oversized sweatshirt in the color olive green. The style is called Farah, and it's 100% organic yarn and super soft and comfy. I love green and I love this color specifically. I also love the other clothing item they sent me, which is a striped loose sweater in black ivory in the style Astrid. This one is really cute, stylish, timeless, and made from eco-friendly materials. This might be one of my favorite items from them. If you've already seen my previous videos, you've seen the other amazing pairs of shoes they sent that I absolutely love, and they sent me 2 new ones, lucky me, which I'm equally excited about. These shoes are sustainable and eco-friendly. The first one is a nude color in the style Titli, and they're not machine washable like many of their other shoes, but they are super chic and made from recycled plastic water bottles. I would suggest getting a size up, as these were a little bit snug on my long cigarette toes. I also got another pair of heels in the style Medley. These ones are square toe chunky heels in black, and they are also made from recycled water bottles and are not machine washable, but they're really cute and I love their simplicity. Very, very stylish. Thank you, Vivaya. If you're looking for a good and functional piece to invest in for your wardrobe, I would highly recommend you go to their website, link is in video description, and check out their products. You can use the promo code Tazzy for an extra 20% off all Vivaya shoes and long-term effective for your order. They have free shipping worldwide for an order over $75, and they have free return and exchange within the US. Now back to the video. Into the friendship stuff. So my first point that I have written down, long-lasting friendships come from quality time. What do I mean by that? I think that quality time is really important in a friendship. If you want to develop a bond with somebody, you have to spend quality time with them, and it has to be meaningful. When you're in school, the reason I think you develop really close friendships with people, as opposed to when you're outside of school or outside of like a work setting, the reason it's easier to do that is because you have this thing in common that kind of bonds you, and you're kind of forced to spend somewhat of a quality time together. You have to go through this experience together. So if you don't have that time to bond, or this like regular time that you spend together, the relationship is not going to stick. The longer the time is that you spend together, the more likely it is that you're going to have a stronger bond. And if that bond is broken, of course, it's going to hurt more. Now, for me, I also realized that this is kind of a blessing for me. So I have a core group of friends that I've remained friends with over the years. And alhamdulillah, like we're still really close. And I think I'm just lucky in the sense that I was able to spend a lot of time with them. Like I stayed at the same school for like 10 years of my life, and a lot of them spent the majority of their time also at that school. So we had significant time to bond as children. The other thing with a lot of my childhood friends is that none of us really left Colorado. And if we did, we left for a period of time and came back. So those bonds were still there. Our families were even connected. And so I think I was just lucky because we all kind of were in the same vicinity for a long time. So that quality time element was there. However, I will say, there are people that probably have lived in Colorado that I've known for a long time, but that doesn't mean that we were best friends or anything. So I'm not saying that that's the only factor. There's more to it, but I think that that's an essential piece to having a long-lasting relationship with anybody. I think this is relevant for the age group that I'm in, or maybe like a little bit younger, because I think we are told a lot of times that like, if you stayed in your hometown, you're a loser and you're just not cool. But the truth is, I understand the importance of leaving your hometown now that I've done it. I see how much my mind has been opened, how I've unlearned a lot of things, how I've also healed from some of the things in my life. It's like that's when you grow your wings, right? But there's something about going through milestones with people, being around them, having that connection that you cannot recreate when you move around. You cannot recreate that when you move to another city. It's really hard to. And the only way you recreate it is by staying in that city for a while or going through some significant experience together. The friends that I'm talking about, they know me on such a deep level that sometimes I'm like, I don't even think my own family can know me that well, because, and maybe they do in different ways, but they knew me when I was like so little, and they knew my personality at that time before all the things in life happened to me. And then they saw me through those things happening to me. And so I feel like they know me at my core, because also when I spend time with those people, I have no inhibitions. Like, I can fully be myself. I don't care about being judged. I can laugh. I can say whatever I want, and nothing is really refined. And I feel really blessed to have that. But again, I feel like that is something that not everybody can just recreate. And if you have a version of that you're able to recreate at some point in your life, or that gets recreated for you, you're just really lucky. I think another element of the friendships that I have that were long lasting is that I didn't have any family in Colorado. And so these people that I'm referring to became my family. I didn't have any extended family. Most of my extended family is in Pakistan. And I know that there are families that come here and have their extended families here, and so they have those relationships with their cousins and their aunts. And because of the distance, I feel like I didn't really and we didn't really go to Pakistan a lot over the summers or anything. I think I went like once every 10 years, or 8 years, or it was long spurts of time from seeing my extended family. So these people really became my family, and I consider their parents and their siblings also like really close to me, like how I would feel about my extended family. Even at my wedding, my wedding was during COVID. I didn't have any extended family at my wedding. Nobody really came out of state except for my husband and his family. And so all the people who were behind the scenes handling all the messy stuff that was going on, whether it was emotionally or like things going wrong, like centerpieces flying off the tables, they were the people behind that. So when I say I'm close to them, like I mean it, and I'm not saying this as a flex. Like I don't want anyone to envy me. I'm just sharing what I think, is important in being able to have something like that, or what the reason is behind why you develop strong bonds. Moving on to the next topic, I think jumping off of that point, maintaining the relationships is also important. So you can't fully just rely on like having some sort of bond. There has to be effort put into the relationship. And I think that's where a lot of relationships fail, or friendships fail. I think there's always one person who feels like they're doing more and the other person's not putting in effort, or the other person's taking them for granted. And it can be very painful, but the truth in life is that things are not always 50-50. Things don't really end up that way as much as we may want that. That's not how life is. And so I think in friendship, sometimes you have to be selfless, but not to a point where it's destroying you, and that person never reciprocates anything. If you're doing nice things for people from a place, or doing things for somebody because you want something back or expect something back, then you're not doing it for the right reason anyway. But that's a sensitive subject, and that varies on what your situation is. So, take what I say as you will. Have you ever tried to grow something? It is hard work, and then taking care of it is hard work. And then once you pull it out of the ground, it can go rotten. So then keeping it, fresh, and then cooking it and making it a good meal and then eating it, the cycle of the whole thing is really difficult. So in the same way, growing a friendship, maintaining it, making it beautiful, making sure it doesn't die, all of that is work. You have to put in work for that. Like anything in life, anything worth enjoying, anything worth putting effort into, it gives you a big satisfaction, and there is a lot that comes out of it, comes back to you, and sometimes you may not see it when you're putting in the effort. Okay, this brings me to my next point. If I could give advice to people, especially people who are younger, older too, actually big time older, don't cut people off for little things. I feel like people cut people off for the stupidest things, especially in the time that we're living in. I feel like we're in a very hyper sensitive time where we feel like we cancel everybody for everything. And it's like, human beings are flawed. This is life. Human beings are not perfect. And it's up to you to decide what you're willing to deal with and what you're willing not to. But just cutting people off and pushing people away just for little things, it's a form of fear. You're scared of being hurt. And the thing is, if you want to reap the benefits of something really beautiful and have something that's amazing, you have to be able to, be tougher about that and not let every little thing, every little flaw that someone has make you flaky or run away, because you don't want people to do that to you. You want people to be there for you when you mess up and you're not perfect. So yeah, I'm going to sit on a pillow. Owie. My foots. Oh my god, my foots. You guys can probably see my legs. This is so embarrassing. Ow. I'm going to get into this on a separate point, but when you get older, it becomes really hard to make new friends. So when you're younger, it's better to not just cut off people for everything, because trust me, when you get older, it is really hard to make friends. People become really stingy with their time, and sometimes not by choice, but sometimes selfishly. So anyway, I think why we tend to be like, oh, I'm going to cut people off so easily when we're younger is because I think we're dealing with emotional immaturity. So I was reflecting a lot the last couple of days about how I was through maybe my late teens and early to mid 20s, and I was kind of really hating myself. I was like, dude, I was not nice. The things that I did, I feel like I was embarrassed, why was I like that? I was very emotionally unintelligent in those years. And so for the people who left, I get it. Why would you want to deal with that? But for the people who stayed, I feel like they're reaping the benefits and I'm reaping the benefits of us sticking it out. Well, I'm not saying to be a punching bag for other people, but I'm just saying sometimes there are things that are not that serious of an issue that we make it's the whole world. I cannot tolerate this. Well, if you can't tolerate that, good luck in life, because people are way worse than some of these things that we do when we're in that age range. I think that time in your life, there's a norming and forming phase of friendships. It really is about, are we going to withstand this or not? Essentially what I'm saying is that friendships are not disposable and you should not treat them as such. Moving on to the next point. Now, going off of that point, I do want to say it is important to identify toxic friendships. I think in some situations it's really unclear. Is someone just really annoying you because your personalities are different and you don't like the way that they handle conflict? Or does someone clearly have some sort of, they're scheming against you and they're trying to ruin your life? You have to navigate and figure out those things. I would say it's not always black and white. Sometimes there are people who are bad for you that you keep around because you don't know how to let it go, or you love them so much that you don't want to. But I had one situation where it was really clear. I was having vivid dreams about it. And even afterwards, even after everything had happened, I was so anxious around this person, not in a good way. I would be nervous, I think what it was is I found myself reflecting, and this would come in my dreams too, that I was like, dude, I'm ending up in situations that I would never be in. Meet the Sneem, this would, like, people would be shocked if this, like, people knew that this was what had happened to me, or something bad happened to me in this situation, because they would be like, Tasneem, really? You know? And I was like, I was finding myself going into a place where I was like, yo, this is not me, and I don't want to go down this path, because like it was like a spiral. Like this person was like pulling me down into their like mess of themselves. Like I felt like it was a tornado. And like I said, like I was not a perfect person. I feel like I had a lot of anger issues. I was just immature, to be honest. That's what it was. I felt like I was going down a path like, what am I doing, you know? And alhamdulillah, I'm glad like I was able to recognize that. But sometimes you have that gut feeling that like this person, you just have to open your eyes and you're like, wait a second, why am I in this situation? Why am I here? Why am I fighting with this? This was not even my fight. Why am I in this drama? I am never in drama, you know, like things like that. And then you know, that's how you know. You're like, this is not a good one. We're done with this. Let's leave. Out. Boom. Out. Bye. Now, when you cut, you know, these type of people off, it's going to hurt them, obviously. And I didn't really have an explanation. Like, I don't know how to say, you are toxic. You know, how do you tell somebody that, like, you are ruining my life, you know? Like, I'm enjoying myself, but you're ruining my life and it's not worth it. But you got to just rip that Band-Aid off. Sorry. So I didn't really know what to put this under, but I wanted to talk about living with your friends, or like doing a business with your friends, and why that's a bad idea. I think we've seen it so many times in history. People like lose friendships. Have you seen Breaking Bad? Yeah, Breaking Bad. Oh, there's even some YouTube channels that I watch that I'm like, ooh, you know, you really thought they were best friends, and then business broke them up, you know? So I feel like it's a bad idea to do that unless you guys were doing business first and then became friends. Then I think that's okay. But I also feel like living with friends can be really challenging. You can destroy your friendship by being a roommate with your good friend. Seriously, like it can obliterate your friendship. For me, it almost did. You know, I might have a podcast episode out with one of my friends. We might talk about it. But yeah, I almost lost a really important friendship in my life because living together was so stressful, and like we just got on each other's nerves, and like, you know, no personal boundaries, nothing. And I'm not saying one person or the other. I'm just saying like we as human beings, we were literally like in the same room, and like there were other roommates and there was drama with them. And then it would kind of like, there was a lot of communication issues, and you can literally lose friends over things like not washing dishes. A person could be like, yo, that's deep. That is not a deep thing to lose a friend over. I'm sorry. That is not a deep enough thing to lose a friend over because they didn't wash dishes. But when you're living with somebody, it's that serious that you can, you know? Anyway, I feel like if you're really good friends with somebody, you shouldn't live with them unless you, again, lived with them first and then became friends and realized you guys live together great. That's my opinion. So friendship can be seasonal. If you're lucky, there are friendships where, you know, that feeling where you say, oh man, it feels like we just, you know, picked up right where we left off, and it could have been years since you talked to this person. That's a beautiful feeling. And some friendships require more than that. And I think that goes back to the thing of effort. And if you make effort with people at the right time in their lives, and you show up for them at the right time in their lives, it doesn't matter how much time passes. It doesn't matter if there was a milestone like missed and stuff like that. But people remember things when you don't give them quality time. That is not possible when those bonds and that trust is not already there. And that's why I feel like a lot of friends who I had maybe like in certain years of my life or certain periods of my life, not really friends anymore. Maybe they felt it from me. Maybe I felt it from them. But yeah, that's an important piece. So now I want to get to the point of why it's so hard when you're older to make friends, because I'm there now. I think when you get older, you are really limited on your time, and so you become more selfish about your time, whether that's selfish has a negative connotation, but whether that's good or bad. I think when we get older, we want people who are convenient, that fit in our lifestyles. So it's kind of going back to recreating that whole like school environment or work environment where you're like, you guys have this thing in common, and that's why you guys are friends, because it's easy for you to spend time together. When you're older, there's no structure like that. Like there might be random things that, you know, pull you guys together, but there's no like overarching structure that's like, you guys are going to spend 8 hours a day together, you know, no matter what you do. And so you guys have 8 hours every day, 5 days a week to just be together. That's not what happens as an adult. So when we get older, we want people that fit with our lifestyles. We want friends who their partner gets along with your partner. We want friends who are in the same stage of life as us. We want friends who have kids so that our kids can play with them. We want people with the same haram to halal ratio, you know what I mean? Now, for me personally, at this stage, well, I moved during COVID, so I'm not looking for friends in terms of satisfying that deep need to be understood, because I feel like with technology and stuff, I still have those connections with people. What I'm looking for at this point in time in my life is I'm looking for friends who have a similar skill set. Like, I don't live that far from like a city where there's a lot of creatives like Austin. But I want to be around people who I can learn from, or that we have like similar interests, you know, creative partner, if I will. So, you know, that's something I'm just throwing out there. Okay, so my next point, this is something I struggled with for a long time, okay? And this is honesty the best policy when it comes to friends? So going back to when I said there was a phase in my life where I feel like I was not very, I was like unstable, and like I was very difficult as a human being. I think part of it was I only knew how to go one way. Like, I was like, if I don't like somebody, I have to show them I don't like them. Like, there was nothing in between. It wasn't like, oh, I can see somebody and like, you know, maybe they're not my cup of tea and I can still like, no, I'm not fake. I'm not a fake person. I have to show them I don't like them. So I'd have a stank face. You know what I mean? Or like, I didn't know how to like just be normal and like be civil with people, even if like, I'm still kind of that way. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hide it a lot better, but like if it eats at me enough, like I will pick something on somebody and just be like, oh, I can't stand that. And I just overanalyze it. And I'm like, I don't like this person. I have to show them I don't like. And then I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but that's not what I'm trying to talk about. I've had times in my life where I have like somebody that I really love, who I have a friend. And let's say the friend is doing something that I feel like is bad for them, or I don't believe in the choices that they're making. And I always used to think, oh, maybe being a good friend means being honest with them. Does it mean being honest with them, or does it mean that you're there for them even when they make decisions that are bad for them and you're still their friend? Like, I still have not figured that part out, you know, whether that's good or bad. Like, what makes you a good friend? Being there for somebody no matter what, and supporting them even when they do some stupid things? Or is it being hard with them and not being like an enabler, you know? It's something I don't know. I don't know the answer. So I'd love to know what your guys' answers are. But I feel like honesty is not always the best policy. I used to value that so much. Like, I have to show everybody my feelings. No, you don't. Part of maintaining friendships with people is not showing all your feelings all the time. So I'm glad, alhamdulillah, I finally like realized that. Okay, so the next one is about keeping up with the Joneses. I think this is very relatable to me now at this point in my life. And I don't feel like it was as relevant like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago. Man, it's harder as you get older. And I think I put this on my Instagram story once about like why when we get older, like sharing successes in our life, it turns into something that's like show-offy, you know? It's no longer like when you're younger and you get something cool, you want to show all your friends, and you want your friends to play with it and do whatever. And like, it's like this exciting thing. And then as you get older, sharing things like, I remember a friend of mine bought a new car, and I was kind of weirded out that like, why didn't I know you bought a new car? Like, I thought we were close, you know? And then that was kind of like a turning point that I started to understand, oh, we're now at an age where like you don't just share things like that. Like, you don't like send a group message like, look at my new car. Because I think when I got feedback from you guys about what you thought on why we changed like that, part of it is that people get to points in life where there can be discrepancies in the things that people have or are able to achieve. And sometimes like showing something like that can make someone else feel bad. And sometimes people don't want to show other people because they feel like someone may be in a situation where they can't do that, even if the person loves them and is their good friend, maybe they'll be envious of them. So, but I'm trying to figure this. I'm trying to navigate this because I feel like you have to do the inner work to feel secure. You should be happy for people. If you have friends, you should be happy for them. you know? I can speak for myself. This might be me being way too honest, but like, I feel like when I was struggling at a certain point in my life, there was a milestone that I was really pushing for and I couldn't reach it. And it was year after year, and I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot in my personal life, and I was seeing my other friends go through this milestone. But for every single one of them, I feel like I was genuinely happy from them for the bottom of my heart. I can't say that about random people. Like, yes, would it annoy me when someone way younger than me would achieve that milestone? I'm like, why is it so easy for other people? But like when it came to the people that I really love and the friendships that I had, I genuinely was really happy for them. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like there were definitely, I'm sure there were things that, I should have been better about. But I think part of it is that everybody's going through a struggle and you have no idea what people are going through. I don't feel like I should have been envious even of people who aren't my friends, but I think you have to do the inner work to feel secure about yourself and not get sucked into this rat race. Everyone is going through a struggle, and I feel like especially Desis, I'm going to say this, Desis are all about showing off their children's achievements and like, I have this house and this car and this status symbol. And it's like, can you imagine what our communities would be like if we actually created support systems for everybody, including the weakest links? Like, can you imagine? And then it would change. It would change from, I don't want my son hanging out with this person's son, because it would be one person failing in the community is a failure on all of us. Instead we are like in this individualistic mode, and we kind of put on this mask like we care about each other, and we don't. Because if you see that struggle or failure in one of your friends, or you see that difficulty in someone who's part of your community or a friend, you wouldn't see it as, let me stay away from this person. Let me keep everything that I love because I love everything that I have in this world. That's not what it should be. It should be that if you're hurting, I'm hurting, And so I feel like with the keeping up with the Joneses, I feel like I'm being preachy, but we should be happy for our friends and our acquaintances and whoever else beyond our friends. But we should be happy for people when they achieve things. And we have to understand that these things come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Like envying other people is like, it's so detrimental for your own self. And it will destroy your friendships. It will destroy these bonds that are so meaningful. And I'm gonna be honest, it happens to me even. Like I feel like there's like, I swear to God, I feel like it's Shaitan whispering in my ear. Because I'm like, I'm not thinking that way. But then I get these thoughts that like, oh, they're doing this to scheme. They're doing this. They look down on me. I start thinking like all these random things that nobody said any of that. Nobody did anything to prove that to me. Nobody said anything or did anything that was evidence of that. So why am I thinking like that? But yeah, I feel like our achievements shouldn't be something that is used to hurt other people. But I also feel like on the other end, we shouldn't be hurt by other people's achievements. We should, and by others, see, I'm getting away from friendship, but I really mean this about friendship in particular. I think that if your friends are succeeding, you're succeeding. And if you're succeeding, your friends are succeeding. Did I say that right? I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so my last point, this is really important. Okay, and I'm going to say this. Venting is shit talking. Venting is backbiting. Okay? Bro, if the person that you're venting about, and I need to work on this. I'm talking to my own self. But I feel like a lot of times people hide behind this what's the word? Guys, ruse of like, oh, venting is not actually shit talking. It's just venting. You just have to vent. No, you don't. Find some other way to deal with your annoyances. Go for a run, go do something else, work on yourself, because I can't tell you the amount of times that I said things about people out of anger or hurt that I did not mean. And if those people ever heard what I said, you can never take those things back. Those are irreversible. If I was told the things that my friends or whoever vents about me, I don't know how I would be normal with them if I found out the things that they said about me, unless it really is something that's like constructive criticism and not that deep. But I feel like this whole thing about like venting is, venting's different. No, it's not. You shouldn't get in the habit of that. And yeah, it's bad. So anyway, control your emotions, control your anger, venting, go vent some other ways. Sit in a sauna. Don't air out your friend's dirty laundry and say things that you can't put back in your mouth. Anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts on friendship, some of my advice, you know, reflections that I've had. I hope that this video was entertaining, if not useful. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below, some of your advice. And, you know, to conclude this video, I don't think I'm the best friend that there ever was. I definitely made a lot of mistakes. I hope to grow, inshallah, and become a better friend as I get older. I hope to keep the blessing of the friendships that I have, and I hope that I am lucky enough to have more friends as I go throughout my life, inshallah. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts below, you know, things that you guys have learned over the years, you know, things that help you. And check out the podcast and some links down below, some discount codes. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good one. All right. Tazzy Faye out. Out. Bye.